Welcome to How to Live Slow, the podcast where we discuss slow living for the modern woman and help you design an intentionally slower family life. I'm Rachelle Glendon, your personal slow living coach and host of this podcast. I know all about busy, but I love living slow. Enjoy the show. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of How to Live Slow. I'm really excited to be sharing a solo episode with you today, all about ways to elevate your daily routines and turn them into rituals for family connection. And apologies for my scratchy throat. I am just getting over a bit of a cold. It's been a while since I've been sick. I don't know if it's because we've all been staying away from each other or what, but I hope wherever you are, whether you're in lockdown, just coming out of lockdown, completely in no lockdown whatsoever, but desperate to see family and friends over the border or internationally, I hope you're really well and going okay. I know these are still ongoing weird times and it can be very fluctuating how we're all feeling from day to day. So I really think that the beauty of motherhood or parenthood lies in those small ordinary moments. So instead of looking for quality time outside of the day-to-day routine, we can find quality time in the daily routine. And I've kind of figured out a couple of things that I do to make that happen. And you might do some of these too, but there's a little bit of a formula, which is kind of fun. I always like that. But my point here is that it's those moments, those ordinary moments that kids actually remember. They might remember the once in a lifetime trip to Disneyland, but they'll remember their childhood and how it made them feel based on remembering the things like the way you did certain things together as a family. So it's not what you do every now and again or once off that matters. It's how you show up on the day to day. So yeah, I think that's the beauty of it, right? So when I became a mum, I kind of had these big ideas about what it was going to be like. I could see myself with all the time and patience in the world, absolutely loving it all. And sometimes it's a little bit more mundane than that, like housework comes up, like suddenly all the washing happens. I don't know how it happens. It's just like one small human comes in and suddenly instead of doing 1 or 2 loads of washing a week, it's like 1 a day. And, now that we've got the 2 kids, life can, if we're not intentional about it, can get a lot busier than I've ever planned on being. And also, I've got my own things going on in my mind. Like I live up in my head a lot. It's an ongoing practice for me to get into my body, to be really present and to practice that gentle attachment style of parenting. And the way that happens is through slow living, which is why I'm so passionate about it and why I'm so encouraging of you to give some of the things that I talk about a try. And one of those things is rituals. So I discovered these little things called rituals, and they really do help me feel like I'm doing my very best work as a mum. Rituals slowed our family down. They helped us really make memories or create memories out of moments that might ordinarily have been, sometimes challenging. I always revert back to the old getting the shoes on to get out the door moment. But there's 5 things that you can kind of do to turn a daily routine into more of a ritual. So the first thing to know about a ritual is that it's a marker of time. So a ritual, marks a point in time, whether it's a bedtime story before bed, Friday family movie night, or even, hanging a stocking for Santa at Christmas. Like those rituals have significance because of when you do them. So for children, this is really soothing and helps them feel like life is predictable. And a predictable life feels safe and comfortable. And that's what we want our kids to feel, right? And to be honest, it's the same for us as well as adults. The predictability of life is the comfort. So the next element of a ritual is that it happens in a specific location. So beautiful rituals happen in the same place. Again, it's to create that sense of knowing and predictability. So like, a bedtime story happens in bed. It's a particular time. Sunday morning pancakes can only happen on a Sunday morning and they can only happen in a kitchen. At the Easter egg hunt, we do it in the front yard or the backyard. And that's kind of like the point, is that certain things happen in certain spots. And then the next one is objects of significance. So this is actually probably the most like religious of these, or the most spiritual of these in a way, but in the modern world or in the secular world, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have an obelisk and a crown or anything like that. And it doesn't also mean that your rituals have to cost a lot or even any money. It's just elevating a ritual through the object of significance. So it's really not that complicated. I'm making it sound way more out there than it is. This is just literally like your favorite bedtime storybook. Let's run with the theme of bedtime. And yeah, your favorite bedtime storybook. So eye-rollingly like, oh, I've got to read this book again. But it's really comforting to a kid. It kind of, it's like the standard favorite Christmas songs. It's a special plate that you leave out with Santa's treats. I'm talking a bit about Christmas because Christmas is actually coming up, everyone. Don't forget, you've got about 2 months to get prepared. But it's even like with these objects of significance, it can even just be the kind of popcorn that you always get, that really can make something just that little bit special and that little bit more like, this is the way we do it, and it makes you feel like part of something. And on that, right? So that's what we're really trying to do, is to feel connected to each other. So another thing to do is to add special words or sayings. So okay, let me use some funny examples. So this is like, a family joke or a certain way of saying goodbye. Maybe dad always sings the words to a particular song wrong in a funny way, or you've got funny names for each other. This is like maybe, if you think about it, even on those bigger tradition times, like you always say happy birthday, we say happy Easter or Merry Christmas. So you can use that we already do as part of our bigger traditions and rituals and put that into your daily life. So yeah, it just really does make all the difference. Yeah, so you might come up with a fun way of saying goodbye, or something that you do in the car right before you drop the kids off at daycare, just to connect with each other just for 1 more minute, so that maybe over time the kids are okay about saying goodbye. Particularly if you've got one who, like I did, a couple of kids who really struggle with the transitions of letting go, and saying goodbye. So the final thing is to do your routines in a repeated and specific order. So to make something feel really special and plant it in our memories as a cherished memory, it has to be repeated regularly over a period of time. It's actually a commitment to the long game for us as parents. And at some stage, if you commit to it then and continue to do these beautiful ways of doing things, then over a period of time, you'll find that it's your kids following up with you and saying like, this has to happen. Why aren't we doing it this way? And so it can become them, pushing it with us. So that's a really beautiful place to get to. And that said, though, your rituals can evolve over time. In fact, they should. So the overlying ritual might be that you play a board game on a Wednesday night. I don't know, just for example. At the moment, when you've got little kids, you might be playing like Snap or Bingo or some other easy game. But as they get older, the game changes, but the ritual stays the same, in that you continue to play games together. Or you continue to read to your kids, or maybe they start reading to you, but the essence is there that books and reading together is part of your ritual as a family. And ultimately, all of this is to just develop those strong family bonds, to approach your parenting journey with gentle methods, and to slow down, so that everyone can really enjoy and feel safe and comforted at home. And you get to pass on some of the stuff that you believe in, some of your own family values, or the things that you hold important in your heart. You get those moments when you are deep in it, are the times when you get to pass on that without actually having to physically say, we value kindness, or we value collaboration, or we value spending quality time together. You're teaching them that through the experience of knowing what that feels like. So as adults, your kids will grow and feel really safe and feel really secure. And that's how we raise resilient kids who are willing and able to take risks in their working life, like in their careers, or following their heart and following their goals and dreams, and not just doing things to survive and make do and get through, which is what we don't want them to be doing. So it is a really valuable part of family life, and the way that you show up as a parent. This is a really special and important thing to be doing. So if you've loved this episode and you want to know more about creating family rituals, like I've got a pretty cool little thing. It's called the Slow Guide to Creating Family Rituals. It's only $17. It's got some short videos in there and a workbook, and it will get you getting to know each other a bit more, and you can create your family philosophy and get to decide what you want to create as a family and what your goals are and what your values are. It will help you to look at your daily routines and figure out, well, how can I bring these elements in to my routine so that I can create this ritual, cherished family, cherished childhood memories. So if you do want to grab the slow guide to creating family rituals, then you just go to my website. It's howtoliveslow.com/rituals. Very nice and easy. Yeah, it's $17 Australian. Works out to be about $13 US. But either way, thank you so much for joining me today. It is a real honor that you continue to click onto my humble little podcast and listen in. I hope that you get an immense value out of these episodes, and if you have any suggestions of things that you would like me to cover, just send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to connect with you and get to know a little bit more about your slow living journey too. So see you in a fortnight. Bye for now.
That's it for another episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to connect further, the show notes from today's episode, including all the social links and free resources, are over on my website, howtoliveslow.com/podcast. Have a beautiful week ahead, and I'll speak with you again soon.